He has unfortunately been guilty of loving his child unconditionally.
So my boyfriend turned red pill.
It's not going to get turned around in 10 years.
Di-Fi passes away. Senator from California, 90 years old, is dead. California also passed a $20 minimum wage for a certain group of people. Also, no evidence becoming fast the new, mostly peaceful protests. And a boyfriend was red-pilled and a girl just had to dump him. All that and more coming up on this episode of Daily Caller Live. Thanks so much for tuning in. Daily Caller Live starts right now.
Might be the only brown guy on earth named Jobob.
That is actually her name, Jobob.
Ooh, live from the dingy bunker that is completely and utterly cut off from the outside world, except for you fine folks. My name is Jobob. This is Daily Caller Live. Thanks so much for tuning in on today, Friday, September 28th, the year of our Lord. 8th? 9th. 29th, the year of our Lord 2023. We are late, but casual Friday. And also we're waiting for another live stream to wrap up. So we are here. We're here. Wow. Not a great segue into this. Obviously, the news of the day is the headline is Senator Dianne Feinstein, 90, D, California, passed away at some point. I won't say yesterday or today or a couple days ago because I'm not entirely sure, and I don't think it's specified in the press release. It just says the senator has passed away. Now, just to clear out of the way all of the other stuff, it is very sad, and thoughts and prayers go out to Di-Fi's family. She was the longest-serving U.S. senator, I believe, had 50 years in the public life, in public service, and obviously was a Democrat from California. Now, aside from all of that stuff, again, no, not at all trying to disparage the death of somebody and how that impacts the family. But of course, the world continues to go on. And several things need to be pointed out here in this particular situation in understanding, I guess, the ramifications of the passing of a California senator. First things first is, well, considering the election is over a year away, Gavin Newsom, governor of California, will have to appoint a new senator. And what are the ramifications of that? I saw on Twitter, which, I have no idea if people are genuine or people are just being trolls or just nasty, but there were a lot of conservative people that, dare I say, excited about this, which is the wrong mentality to have, not only because there's a compassion component. This is a actual person, regardless of how you viewed her political beliefs. It's not cool to be excited when somebody dies, again, whoever they are. But two, the assumption that it's now going to get better. She was a Democrat from a Democrat state in which a Democrat governor with super majorities in both of the legislative bodies in the state are all controlled by Democrats. In other words, Di-Fi, regardless of her political party, was a better option of whoever's going to come in and succeed her. In other words, did I agree with Di-Fi's policies? A lot of cases, no. But she was way, way better than whoever is going to be appointed by Gavin Newsom. Now, the governor has promised that he's not going to appoint any of the candidates running because Di-Fi had announced that she wasn't running, which is crazy because I think a year before that she announced that she would run. She voted as recently as yesterday. That's another kind of interesting thing that maybe we can talk about a little bit more later. But as the appointment process goes, Gavin has said, I'm not going to appoint anybody who's currently running, which means he's going to have to pick from, a multitude of people, except for the fact that on several occasions, I believe on MSNBC, as reported by NBC and Politico, he has already narrowed the field down based on race and gender, which I think the 1965 Civil Rights Act has something to say about that. But the bottom line here is that whoever Gavin appoints is going to be more to the left, more extreme than Di-Fi ever was. Again, agree with her policy or not, she was at least for a long time somewhat of a moderate in the Senate, at the very least compared to whoever's going to get put into her place now. Who's the other senator? I'm blanking on his name from California. I can think of all the other people. Alex Padilla. When Kamala Harris went to the Senate, or went to the vice presidency, Alex Padilla got appointed. So Gavin has appointed both, will have appointed both of the senators from the state of California. That's weird in and of itself. But he's crazier than Kamala was. And Kamala is crazier than Barbara Boxer was. In other words, I keep saying in other words, bottom line is, Di-Fi, at the very least in the modern times, was somewhat moderate. And I want to play this clip that has been making the rounds since the news broke of Di-Fi talking to some kids about climate change, which, again, is... This should be an example of Di-Fi passing away not being a good thing for the political arguments that conservatives make. So watch this and we'll discuss on the other side.
Scientists have said that we have 12 years to turn this around.
Well, it's not going to get turned around in 10 years. What we can do,
Senator, if this doesn't get turned around in 10 years, you're looking at the faces of the people who are going to be living with these consequences.
The government is supposed to be for the people and by the people and all for the people.
You know what's interesting about this group is I've been doing this for 30 years. I know what I'm doing. You come in here and you say it has to be my way or the highway. I don't respond to that. I've gotten elected. I just ran. I was elected by almost 1 million vote plurality. And I know what I'm doing. So, maybe people should listen a little bit.
Look, again, did I agree with her on really any policy? Not really. But at the same time, that is a reasonable person who I disagree with, as opposed to the crazy people that are in office now and probably will fill that seat. Her telling kids, hey, calm down on your nonsense. None of this is going to get fixed immediately. And regardless of how emotional you convince kids to be, they're still kids with opinions that, kids are dumb. And I can attest to that now fully. I've mentioned this before, but I got so much heat. I went on Candace Owens' show, like a year and a half ago, and we're talking about some trans kids, and I had made the case, yeah, kids are dumb. And I said that verbatim, kids are dumb. And got a lot of blowback for that. I still stand by that, by the way, and apparently Di-Fi agrees with me. Unfortunately, these kids are being brainwashed. They go to the senator and say, what are you going to do to save our lives? She says, calm down, grow up a little bit. Maybe you should do a little bit of listening. And you know what? I like that. But the interesting component can still exist that Gavin Newsom will appoint. We've got a couple comments in here. Anna says they should have a special election. I think they're not going to, because Gavin would rather appoint somebody. Some of these comments here, too, are kind of funny. Why should death keep her from keeping her seat? Good question, Mike. I don't know. I think the Babylon Bee had a headline that says, despite death, rumors swirl as Dianne Feinstein announces for another term or something like that. I don't know. It was funny. But yeah, Gavin's going to appoint somebody. Now, like I mentioned just briefly earlier, but I would like to dive into it a little bit, is that Gavin has now a number of times said that he will be appointing a black woman to her seat, which is incredibly racist and incredibly sexist. But what are we to expect from the governor of California? And for there's a lot of people out there that like think that that's okay. It was racist when Joe Biden did it to the Supreme Court. First things first, what you're saying effectively, if you say I'm going to pick a black woman for this particular seat, what you're saying, not me, what they're saying is that black women are just not capable of getting this job on their own, which is a problem, right? I don't believe that, but apparently Gavin Newsom and Joe Biden believe that. What they're also then saying is they're diminishing the value of the person that they do appoint ultimately. If it ends up being a black woman, guess what? People are going to question the validity of her experiences and qualifications. That's just what it is. If you put race and gender ahead of qualifications, people are inherently going to question the qualifications. It could be that Gavin Newsom appoints a talented, intelligent, articulate black woman to the Senate. But because he said he's going to appoint a black woman to the Senate, everybody's going to question her qualifications. That's just how it goes. And lastly, isn't this exactly what the Civil Rights Act tried to stop? Like, I'll probably end up putting this into my stand-up bit. I would love to throw my hat into the ring to be considered for Senate of California. From California, I want to be the senator of California. I'm throwing my hat in the ring. I'm putting it out there right now. Gavin, you can choose me. Now, if I actually were to submit an application, which I don't think that's how the process works regardless, what would be said to me is, you're not allowed to fill this position because of your race and gender. Seriously, that is what Gavin is saying. If he's saying, I'm picking a black woman to fill the Senate seat, there are a huge constituency of people who are not allowed to even be considered because of their race and gender. The woke racism thing is fascinating to me. But such is modern politics. Staying in California for a little bit. And again, I know we talk about California quite a bit and Gavin Newsom, but he is running for president, and I feel like people should... Oh, dang it. There was another clip that I really, really wanted to bring on, and I should have brought on, but I forgot about it until just now. It's a clip of Gavin saying that the trans issues only affect 1% of America, and it's not really something that he should be focused on. We should be focused on climate change, which, for the governor of California, is a right-wingy extremist thing to say. Because remember, California is all in on the transgender kids thing. And the reason that Gavin is is pushing back is because he's running for president. And so I've been saying he's been running for president for the last 2 years now, doing this show. Ever since we started this show, and saying Gavin is running for president of the United States. Now I think I've updated my assertion to, I think I would place a considerable amount of money, not all of my money, but a considerable amount of money that Gavin Newsom will be the Democratic nominee for president. One, he's running for president. I would bet my house and everything I own. I would bet my everything I have, I would bet that Gavin Newsom is running for president if the odds were that I won $1. I would put my entire net worth on the line to win $1 betting that Gavin Newsom were running for president. That is how sure I am that he's running for president. And now I'm pretty sure that he's going to get the Democratic nomination because he's out there saying that the trans kids thing, let's not dig into that, because he knows that's not an electable position to take in nationwide. Let's see. Oh, hold the phone here. Comment just came in that I thought this might change everything. I mentioned my want to become the senator from California, but Mike says, Jobob, you just need to identify as a black woman. That is something to consider. I hadn't even thought of that. I am not allowed to be a senator from California because Governor Newsom says, well, you have to be a black woman. And unfortunately, I'm not a black woman. Or am I? You ask yourself that. But moving on to this, Gavin Newsom has also signed a bill into law yesterday that is now going to require a $20 an hour minimum wage for fast food workers. Now, I don't know how much we want to dig into this right here, right now, but this is one of those that I read, and I think a lot of people read, and kind of rolled our eyes to like, does anybody actually think this is a good idea? Like, I don't know. Is this just a virtue signal, or does he actually think that this is a good idea? I had a couple conversations about this in the last day since this bill was signed in the state of California. And it's fascinating to me, the inability for some to recognize the reality of how these sorts of policies play out. Around my house, there are now, I think my wife and I counted 5 different fast food places that are strictly automated. Like, you go through the drive-thru and you're talking to a robot. And it's weird, and I hate it, but that's just the reality of what it is. And this sort of thing, $20 an hour minimum wage for fast food employees, isn't going to make the automation go down. No, as a matter of fact, it's going to make it go up. So effectively, Gavin Newsom, in order to make himself and his liberal elites feel better about helping the poor and downtrodden, is going to eliminate a lot of their jobs, and a lot of them are going to end up being fired. If you are a low-skilled worker in the state of California and would like to work in the fast food industry, you will not be able to get a job because nobody will hire you at $20 an hour because you have no skill. Effectively, it also eliminates many starter jobs for many kids, and I've experienced this in my own business and work. When I was doing consulting stuff, that was one of the, when minimum wage got instituted in California to go way above the national average, I think it was at like $15 or something crazy. I don't even know what the minimum wage in California is now. Maybe I should look that up. Somebody look that up and let me know in the comment section. What is the minimum wage in California now? Bill was signed several years ago to make it $15 an hour, but I'm not entirely sure that it's crept up to that. But regardless, in political campaigns, we would hire a bunch of young, no experience people, I don't know, 18 years old, right out of high school, to go door knock and do things that were, kind of small, menial tasks. But we would hire younger people who had no experience because it was cheap, and if they screwed it up, it didn't really matter. Then, as time progressed and minimum wage became more and more and more expensive, and you had to comply with the government laws, we wouldn't hire young kids anymore. We'd hire people in their mid-20s or early 30s that we knew could do the job effectively and wouldn't screw up. Because rather than paying 2 younger and experienced people, because now I'm forced to pay more and the government has made it illegal for those people to work at that wage, we would hire older people and just eliminate the starter jobs. And that is the same across every single industry. If you want young people to have experience, lower or get rid of the minimum wage altogether. If you want the young people to not be able to find jobs to give them that starter leg up, and if you want them to become dependent on the government, go ahead and raise the minimum wage so that it is literally illegal for me to hire them to try and figure stuff out. Anyways, I think Anna looked it up. California is now $15.50 an hour. Yeah. So, look, if the more minimum wage creeps up, especially in states like California, the more it becomes illegal for people to justify starter jobs. I would happily hire a bunch of, younger, hungry people at a much lower wage because I know they have zero experience and they don't know what they're doing, but I'd happily hire them at a certain rate. once that rate increases past the amount that I'm willing to pay the inexperienced young kid, they just don't get a chance anymore. So anyways, if you hate poor people, go ahead and support stuff like this, Gavin. It's not actually going to increase the wages of any of the people that you're claiming to help. It's actually going to eliminate opportunities for them. But if it makes you and your liberal elites feel better, go for it, dude. We know you hate the lower class. Just continue to push them down into the dirt, because we all know that's what you like to see. Holy cow, that turned into a rant. Let's see. Any of the comments that I think are here are worth doing. Anthony says this: who wants a $50 medium cheese pizza? Actually, I don't know that that's going to be the case. I think prices will go up. I think that's kind of the knee-jerk reaction of like, well, things are going to be more expensive. And I think, yes, but I don't think it would go up nearly as drastically. I think they're just going to fire people. Like if I were a business owner and this came down the pike, yeah, I'd increase prices a little bit, but I would double down on my investments for automation so that I can still compete at a lower price. So I think prices will go up, but not crazy high. They're just going to eliminate jobs. That's what I would do if I were a fast food owner. I don't know, business owner. Anyways. All right, let's get to this. Dang it, we're really not gonna. Somebody stop me on my little rants, because we're not gonna have time for the boyfriend thing. We'll squeeze it anyway. We won't spend long on this. LOL's no evidence is the thing that is going to be making its way around the media. We've been talking about this for the last couple weeks. The impeachment inquiry, which is not a real thing, it didn't give any real powers to anybody. They were already allowed to do this sort of thing. So I think impeachment inquiry from the Republican side is stupid. It just put a title on investigating somebody who should clearly be investigated. But this whole idea, it's an impeachment inquiry. All right, you have no new power that you didn't already have because of the impeachment inquiry. But regardless of all of that, the impeachment inquiry is starting, and Democrats are fostering in the new term of mostly peaceful. Remember mostly peaceful protests when that CNN chyron flashed on the bottom of the screen, and the reporter was standing in the building behind him was literally burning to the ground? I was like, yeah, these are mostly peaceful. The new term that is going to be floated around and become a prominent fixture in American society is without evidence or no evidence, which is almost comical. If you actually think there's no evidence that would tie Joe Biden to Hunter Biden and their foreign business dealings, I don't know what to tell you. Like, to me, because of all of the evidence that a lot of us have been paying attention to for a long time, and I've said this on the show many times, nobody is like, Hunter Biden isn't running for president. I understand that. That's what Democrats are trying to say. Well, Hunter Biden's not running for president, so why does this matter? Well, it matters because of the litany of evidence shown that Joe Biden is tied in with Hunter. They're just a rich family that all lives off of one lump sum of money. And Joe Biden used his influence through his brother Jim and through his son Hunter to make millions of dollars. Again, considering all of the evidence, the text messages from Hunter Biden, the laptop that showed all of the different communications between the big guy and Hunter, the fact that Joe Biden said, well, I've never talked business with my son, and now whistleblowers coming out of the FBI saying, hey, we weren't allowed to talk about this. His son's right-hand man / best friend saying, yeah, Joe Biden was on the phone with a bunch of us when we were in Saudi Arabia and took calls. And now the narrative from the administration has turned from I never spoke about business with my son to I was never involved in business with my son. And the ever-changing narrative that the administration is putting out every time a new piece of evidence comes out. All I'm trying to say is that there's a lot of evidence. And if you're going to say, well, there's no evidence, I guess I don't know. I don't know how to deal with you at that point. That's like me saying this is a brown desk, and then you say, well, there's no evidence that that's a brown desk. Do I argue with you that this is a brown desk, or do I just go, okay, sure? If you're choosing to believe that this is not a brown desk, and you say that there's no evidence that this is a brown desk, good luck, I guess. I don't know. Like, if I'm saying this is a brown desk and you're saying there's no evidence this is a brown desk, and we have to convince a multitude of people whether or not this is a brown desk, make your case. Sure, go ahead and try to tell people who have eyeballs that there's no evidence that this is a brown desk. Anyways, I want to play this clip of a no evidence thing. Well, I think this is her saying the only thing he's guilty of is, well, let's just play the clip. Watch this.
And I could go on because he's got 91 counts pending right now. But I will tell you what the president has been guilty of. He has unfortunately been guilty of loving his child unconditionally, and that is the only evidence that they have brought forward. And honestly, I hope and pray that my parents love me half as much as he loves his child. Until they find some evidence, we need to get back to the people's work, which means keeping this government open so that people don't go hungry in the streets of the United States. And I will yield.
What are you supposed to do with that? Like, I don't know. Like, that is a child screaming something that they know apparently nothing about or are just lying about it. This is the age-old question of this show. Are they incompetent or are they lying? That was a Congresswoman Crockett. I don't know where she's from, but okay, all right. Let's hold on. Wait. Take the entirety of the evidence that Joe Biden is involved with Hunter Biden and Jim Biden in their business dealings and selling and peddling influence. Take all of that away. What did she say? I wish my parents loved me half as much as Joe Biden loved Hunter Biden. From a psychological standpoint, is allowing a person to continue down the hole that Hunter Biden went down. And this is sad. This, from a family aspect, this is a sad thing. But enabling Hunter Biden to continue a lifestyle of drugs, gambling, prostitution, all of that sort of stuff, is that loving? Again, take away all of the evidence. Take away the text messages, the emails, the phone calls, the witnesses, the whistleblowers. Take all of that away, because that's just, you gotta laugh at people for not recognizing any of that and claiming that none of that exists. But take all that away. And would you call what Joe Biden did with Hunter loving? I don't know. And again, I understand that the whole tough love thing is very, very difficult. But at the end of the day, if assisting in the bankrolling of your son's drug addiction is considered loving, I don't think you quite understand the actual definition or the meaning of what it is to truly love somebody. And I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's not incredibly sad. But remove all of the other nonsense and get down to that. I don't know if that's an appropriate term to use for the situation that they're currently in. So that is what it is. We're not going to have time to get to this base boyfriend thing. We'll talk about it Monday. Let's see. Yeah, that'll do it for us today. Appreciate you sticking around, tuning in. If you haven't already, give me a follow on any of your social media platforms. Just type in JOBOB. You'll be able to find me pretty much anywhere. Social media, any social media. We will be next Friday, a week from today. We will be in Van Buren / Fort Smith, Arkansas. There are still a couple tickets left, but I think we're about 80% sold. So if you're in that area, would love to see you at a comedy show next Friday. Then Saturday, a week from tomorrow, we will be in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tickets are selling pretty quickly on that one too. I think we're about same on those. So if you're in the area, would love to see you there. Also, this coming Monday, in 3 days, I will be in San Jose with Charlie Kirk, and on Tuesday I will be in Albany, New York with Candace Owens. Should be great times in both locations, settings. But yeah, going to be a jam-packed week and be all over the place. So if you live in any of those areas, would love to see you and meet you in person. If you want any more information on any of those events, just go find me on social media somewhere, shoot me a message, and we'll figure it out. But appreciate you sticking around, tuning in this week. Have a great weekend. Try to unplug from the news a little bit. Go spend some time with your family. Do something fun. Don't get mired down in the fog of the federal government and all of their misdeeds. We'll see you Monday, same time, same place, probably. God bless America.